G'day guys, it's Rick from Tips and Ratings. Just our ratings wrap for March the 3rd, March the 7th, sorry, 2015. Look, we had a very difficult day today, quite a testing day. The reported loss is 11.41. I'll just pull in another thing here, a little comment. It's on the wrong side. Hang on. So it could be minus 16 adjusted. Basically, what happened was a few people had some issues with a certain service provider that went down when we backed a good price winner, and there was other members that weren't members early in the week. So basically, they signed up today or yesterday and were unable to get the alerts for the early bets that we had. So generally between 11 and 16 down. Some guys did better than 11, and some guys did worse than 16. So it just sort of depends. It's one of those days where, yes, some won more and some won less. But it was a tough day. We got taken to the cleaners in Sydney. We didn't back a winner all day until the last race. When we backed Naeli, it was pretty much a double overlay, but that's when half the members couldn't get their, or not half, but a handful of members couldn't get their bets on. So while we're talking about Sydney, we may as well start with it and get it out of the way so I don't have to think about it for another week. The numbers just didn't come out today in Sydney. They were just off. So not sure what really happened, but anyway, we start off in race 3. We backed 4 horses. We had some big results going, but we didn't get a win. Griante came up from Melbourne. I thought its first up run was okay. It was a horse I was sort of waiting for it to get out to 1400 to a mile, but it really put its best foot forward. Mahiri was a horse that we were on. My Seville made a run down the outside. Scorpio Queen was up the inside, but no good there. We dropped 2.88 on the race 2, and again, no good here. We had Fraser at 60 to 1, and one at 30 to 1. So just sort of one of those races. We had a little bit of a saver on Maygrove, the New Zealand horse coming over. He didn't have self-sense. Had him $10 and he was 8, rated around 8 before being backed. And Pajaro was a horse we backed at a much better price early in the week, and it sort of continued to firm and looked to have every chance. So 3.71 out there for nothing back. Here we backed half a dozen horses, bet 3.9. We had some nice results going. The best was Entertains, who was held up sort of halfway down the straight. I don't think it cost it, miles, but it only really lost by a head in the end. So had it sort of got out and got the momentum, it may have just about got to a door reveal, I think. So I think we're a little bit unlucky there that had we sort of got the run, we may have been able to get a nice winner, and that was around 10 units that went against us there. So another loss. Another loss here. Sworn to Silence was the good result for us here. We had it going for, got out more than that. So we had it going for at least 10 units, and wasn't the B. Shooting the Wind was just jogging along well and looked to have them covered, but Hello Crown was too good. So 3 bets there, no good. Just sort of the numbers didn't land on the girls down the bottom, but they quinelled the race. So we sort of had Catkins rated on top, but just couldn't really get them as short as the market had them, and we were clearly wrong here. We sort of backed the horses that were resuming, and at the end of the day, the extra fitness and a good on-pace ride for Cosmic Endeavour really told the tale. So we bet 2.81 there, and again got nothing back. Onto this race, and another one that came out wrong. when I say wrong, if I did the race again, it would come out the same, but the result would be the same in actual time, so hence it's wrong. But look, Miracles of Life, I sort of rated it on its best recent form, its last couple of campaigns, and I think all the evidence points to it really being back to its best. Rubik was held up, we weren't on it, and Varpensiero, excuse me, he ran well as well, and Moydart, who was our best run, he came from last, so he's probably in for a good campaign. I thought he hit the line well, but another loss in Sydney, the graveyard for us today, and then in the last race, Nayeli. So some guys got 80 to 1. Most were able to get the SP kicker 60 to 1, and excuse me, and that sort of saved us a little bit from a total catastrophe in Sydney, although it was a catastrophe in the end. Just a poor day in Sydney for us, which basically equated to our entire loss on the day in Sydney. And had it not been for Nayeli in the last, it would have been a real horror show. On to Melbourne, as you can see there in the yellow, pretty much churned out 11% on turnover, which is basically where we're at long term. So we had heavily in the first, marked 230. They bet 350, had it going for 7.5 units, which was a great result. But the mid-price horse was just a bit too good. He settled back off them and didn't get out till late, but boy, he really wound up well, and he looks a nice horse. So we saved on him and basically broke even on the race. On to See No Eagles race. I was pretty keen on Missy Longstocking early in the week, the market, but she just kept drifting. And we backed See No Eagle top fluck. It got out to $6. Excuse me. It's been a long week. And she was a bit too good for them, just the way the race turned out. And we picked up about 9.5 on that race. On to the next race, and probably underrated the class of Orient Line a little bit, and it won. So I got this one wrong. I sort of went back and redid the race in hindsight, and I could have certainly had it around where it was, and but it wasn't to be. Sometimes you lose like that, and you go back and adjust your figures and win going forward. So that's just what happens at times. High World was a little bit luckless, and Profit Share also, but we missed out there. On to the next race, and Amarino was bang on the price early on, and most of the members were able to get it, a few didn't, and it's one of the sort of races that some didn't and some didn't get. But look, we had basically we went into the race with Tougher Than Ever, Aeronautical and Amarino, and Akavurin got right out very late to round the price. Some guys backed Akavurin and some didn't. So there's a horse that was either or wasn't backed for some of the members, and Aeronautical didn't really begin the best and come up the inside. Probably if he begins well and can get to the outside, I think he just about wins. So I think we're a bit stiff there not to get a bigger return on that race, and a win, as in a profit. On to the next race, and look, we had Crafty Cruiser marked $11 and they bet 10. So we're talking about percentages. We sort of didn't miss out by much, but again, another losing race all the same. Rawnak, I thought he ran really well. He was sort of stuck looking for runs and on the inside, and again, I think had he been able to build with some momentum and get to the outside, I think he makes a real race of it. So probably another one where we missed out, that given a bit of a different run, we possibly could have done a little bit better there, but as the record says, bet 3.1 and back nothing. On to the mares race, and we had Madam Gangster marked $5. She got out to $4.20 and wasn't quite at our price. Star Fashion we backed early in the week at $9, and she sort of came in around 5 or 6 early in betting and drifted out a little bit. and Madam Gangster was just a bit too strong for them. Girl Guide we opposed today, but she improved, so she might be back on track. And the Dean West was another horse we were on at a big price, and it boxed on pretty well. But 3.35 out for nothing back there. We opposed Kermadec here. We got a little bit of luck with him getting held up. Finally, something went our way, and we were on Wangina mark $6, and he led all the way. So I think he ran to his Cox Plate figure, and if you work backwards, if you give him his Cox Plate figure for his last run and work backwards, then it ties in with this other horse that won early in the day, Orient Line. So sort of from that figure back, it's pretty strong. So I got Orient Line wrong, but thankfully I didn't get Wangina wrong, and we were able to get a win there. So we're on Alpine Eagle, was probably the best horse going forward, and we picked up a 7-unit return there, around 3.5 profit. And onto the next race 8, Mark 490, the winner. Bet plenty of $5 early in the week, which is when we alerted the bet. And some members that joined today were unable to secure that price, but most of the members that are on a monthly membership or a Saturday membership were able to get that price, and it was just a little bit too good. Perron ran on well after being held up. She's going to appreciate further, obviously, and Flambeau's did well for third, and Samora, who was our good result in the race, going for around a 10-unit return. He boxed on pretty well for fourth, but just didn't have the zip of the winner. And then on to the last race, Post de France. We're lucky we alerted early in the day, because the stable started backing it, and obviously it started around $6 or $7, and we bet 4.07 on the race. Verdant was our big result, wasn't to be. We had a couple of other fair results going, but in the end, just basically a small profit on that race, and made it a winning day, Flemington. But as I mentioned, there's a few members that would have got those results or did better, and a few members that didn't. So generally, we can all pretty much align within a couple of units either way at the end of the day, depending on prices and whatnot. But today it's a bit of a mixed bag. But that concludes the rating for today, and tough day to sort of end out a bit of a tough week for us. Real grind. Wednesday was a tough day, and we hit back, and today we're looking down the barrel of a huge defeat. We're able to sort of get a bit back, and still not a good loss, but much better than it looks. So thanks for listening. All the best, and we'll be betting again Monday at Moonee Valley. Thank you.